So now I need to apply the personal brand to a multitude of items. In this class, I'll walk through the creation of two very important items, a business card and a letterhead. We'll talk about the paid and organic social media post design and other types of digital design a little bit later in the marketing section of this course. Business cards may seem outdated to some, but when it comes to working and finding local clients, having a physical card to hand out really helps with remembering who you are and even jotting down quick notes about your conversation. When we start talking about finding clients, I will emphasize heavily how important local networking is. The business card is your golden ticket to starting conversations, but also providing something they can walk away with and remind them to follow up with you. Your task is to create either a single-side or double-side business card for your personal brand. There's no requirement to what to include on a business card, but commonly you'll find basic contact information like phone, email, or website. I like to include something interesting about my business, maybe my main headline or phrase that defines who I am, what I do, and how I do it better than the next guy or gal. Business cards are small, so this does not lend itself to big paragraphs of text, so use this real estate wisely to say more with less. There are all sorts of lovely effects you can apply to your business cards. If you're using an online printing company like moo.com, you can apply a wonderful gold or silver foil stamping to give your logo or another brand asset a nice high-end shine. During the process of creating your first few marketing items, you'll start to work out certain layouts and font sizes for particular things like I mentioned earlier. For example, working with this contact information, I created a unique way of dividing the lines to display the information. This pairs well with the elements in my logo too. There's a little bit of a theme there. I could take this arrangement and use that on the letterhead layout or the business card layout, displaying the same information. This is called brand consistency, using those similar layouts in different situations. Remember, use your textures, icons, patterns, or other brand assets and find ways to incorporate those to continue that brand consistency. In this example, I'm using the repeat pattern I created from a few custom icons I created to create that subtle background to complement the logo. Those who are illustrators or photographers may want to feature your own work, paintings, photos, illustrations to show that style, whatever might capture the attention of your target client or make them happy. You could start to notice our theme throughout the items we're creating. We can easily apply this style to many different items. T-shirts are a great way to start conversations with people while you're out and about, networking or just living your life. I had a branded t-shirt with my logo and tagline on it, and it landed several clients just by living my normal life. People are interested in what you are and what you do and what is on your t-shirt. They're intrigued by it, and so they ask you, naturally, some follow-up questions. So now that we developed our logo and some brand assets, what file formats do I need to have these in? If you're going to be doing this yourself or hiring another person to do this part for you, these are the formats I like to have my logos or brand assets in if possible. The logos, I like to have these in smaller JPEGs, larger PNGs. PNGs can have transparent backgrounds. I also like to have these in vector format, so a simple .ai or Illustrator file or a .eps if using another program is great. If you're getting your logo printed on custom promo items, a vector file is usually requested by a printing company, so it's nice to have one of those on hand. We'll be uploading all of these exported PNG and JPEG files that we have of our brand assets so we could start to put together a sample business card front and back. We're going to be doing that in Adobe Illustrator, but you could put this together in any program of your choice. Once again, these lessons focus less on using the software, as many of you guys will be using different software, or some of you will be hiring someone to do these designs for you. I'll focus more on how to extend your personal brand to other areas and less on graphic design, as this course is focused on freelancing and getting that personal brand ready to go. If you're interested in knowing how to use Canva in detail and how to create your entire brand in Canva, I offer a branding course for non-designers, do-it-yourself non-designers. I also offer courses in all the Adobe software if you're interested in doing all this in Adobe software. Okay, we're ready. We have all these brand assets we can pull from, and you're going to be doing that as you create all the different assets you'll need. You may not need a business card, but you're going to need some kind of contact information, whether it's an email signature or some kind of way to display all your vital contact information. So let's begin. We have a two-sided business card, front and back. I went ahead and pulled our headline. This was kind of a little bit more generic than I'd like it to be, this headline, but there's several more that I developed in that brainstorming process in the goals section of the class, where I was coming up with some kind of ways to talk about what I did in one very simple statement. I like to put this in my business card because a lot of business cards will just have kind of your generic contact information, but they don't really tell you how you bring value. Like with my business cards, I do elevate your business through design or something very similar to that kind of tells them a little bit what you do more than just your title. So I like to incorporate a little bit more of ideas and a little bit of text that way. You never want to overwhelm it too much. If you can't say it in one sentence, it's probably going to be too long for a business card. They're very, very tiny. You don't want to overwhelm with text. Another great thing about having all of your branding standards manual developed is I can start pulling all these assets that I need. So I can go ahead and pull, a logo over. I can also have my type set up so I know what type of fonts I should use here for the headline and other information. So it's really just a matter of figuring out what I think would capture the imagination of a client. What do I think would be a proper layout? On the front and the back, I like to have business cards that are front and back because they're really not that much more expensive to get a back these days. And I like to put high quality upgrades and finishes to my business cards, maybe metallic ink, foil stamping, embossing. Go to moo.com if you want to get all those fancy effects. But I like to do that just because I don't mind spending a little bit more on my business card because I hand them out very deliberately. When I go meet people and I hand out a business card, it's somebody I've had a conversation with, someone I seriously want to pursue as a client. I want to give them my best foot forward. I'm going to give them a very high quality, maybe even a little bit more expensive business card. Maybe even you spend 50 cents, even $1 on a business card. That's worth it. $1 if you're handing that out to a high quality potential client or lead. So let's continue to kind of fiddle around with the layout, and we're just thinking about ideas. We're not thinking about graphic design. I'm going to focus more on what I'm including and why. So we definitely want to have that headline over here. So I'm going to bring that headline. We don't want to overwhelm people, so I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm a big fan of putting the logo on both sides because you never know what side, when they take it out of their wallet or they take it out of their purse, you don't know what side they're going to land on. And I also like to do different contrasts on the sides. So instead of have two white sides, I maybe have a darker background and then a lighter background, or the other way around. I think it really helps to kind of add to the experience. So you're just adding to the experience. The back of your card could even feature one of your works. As long as maybe you have your logo or watermark somewhere on there so they can kind of see that work and see your name. They want to connect your work and your name together. So that's another great thing if you're an illustrator, especially a photographer, or even a web designer, putting a little piece of your work, a little snapshot on the back along with your logo really, really, really helps. So you need to make business cards fairly unique. You kind of have the standard layout where you have the information over here and you kind of have a typical layout, but try to be creative, even though you have to do contact information in a clear manner, and you want to be consistent with your brand. So continue to use the same typefaces throughout. Find ways to get it to work, or if you feel like your typeface or colors are not working, please revisit your branding inspiration and brand boards and all that stuff and branding standards and tweak it. This is when you go back and forth in that creative process. So some other things I'd like to include is I'd like to include obviously a website. That's where they're going to drive them to the website. That's the main focal point. Is not really the email. I'd like them to contact me, but I'd like them to contact me after they visited my website and portfolio, because I want to get them sold before they email me, so that it would be a very soft sell to land that client. They've already seen my work. I don't have to then send them to the website and keep going through that. So the website, big, bold, beautiful, that's what we want to have. The website is going to be very prominent. We can even bring in some of our colors. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste my color palette so I can have easy access to it. So if we wanted to go ahead and switch things up, we can. So that'll be the main focal point. So sometimes putting your website away from the other contact information helps, especially if you're doing its own side, because it really helps that user focus more on the website and not get lost among the other contact information. And I also like to put a very obvious statement. If my header, making your small business ideas come to life, it's a little generic. It doesn't actually say that I'm a graphic designer. although we have graphic designer in her logo, which is nice, I wanted to have a very obvious statement, almost like a title. So if you want to say senior graphic designer or senior photographer or art director or illustrator, those are great to have titles. Sometimes I'll put it in a phrase, so offering full service graphic design, or I can probably even rephrase that a little bit to make it sound better. But just kind of having something it's very, very, very obvious what you do right when you look at it. You're not playing any games. You're getting right to the point so they can remember, oh yeah, she's the graphic designer I met in the elevator. So that's exactly what you want to kind of do. So I'm going to spend about 10 minutes rearranging everything and trying to find what I think is a suitable layout. I already kind of did a couple of ideas here with an invoice, and there's already some kind of brand consistency I'm developing with kind of how I arrange everything. So I'm going to do that and incorporate that to have that brand consistency, and I'll be right back. So each one of these concepts are effective in their own ways. That's why it's important to put together several different ideas and layouts to find out which one you think would work. In some cases, even getting multiple different versions of your business card printed for different situations. The one here on the left really works well for high-end clientele with this nice gold foil stamping on the bottom and beautiful use of texture. It's very clean and it reduces all the extra clutter. I don't have the tagline and just focus on the offering full service graphic design as kind of the main focal point on the front as well as the website. So it's very clean, modern, and really would do well at attracting a higher end clientele. The one on the middle is very basic. It's got the tagline on the top. It's got my basic information, has everything it needs. It even has a little sketching photo in the background using photo to kind of help draw the user in and explain a little bit about what you do and how your process is different. Of course, we're a brainstorming design company, so I put a little bit of that sketch pencil in the background. I thought that would be a fitting image for what she does as a graphic designer. On the bottom, I feature her work on full display. I went ahead and arranged a lot of her logos in a particular order and was able to kind of put that on the back. And of course, with a big focal point on that website, because that's where they're going to be able to look at these in more detail and get case studies, which we'll be doing in the next section of the class, creating our website portfolio and our PDF portfolio. On the right is kind of more of your everyday use. I think it's kind of more flexible and adaptable to different situations. Kind of your basic front and a very clean back, not showing any work or photos, but just kind of showing what needs to be shown for the business card. So 3 different layout ideas, took about 20 minutes to kind of brainstorm this. You can, of course, put this together in any program you like, but that's kind of a little bit of my rough process of how I think about business card and what needs to be on it, not necessarily the design, but kind of the effectiveness of the card. So once again, you're seeing a lot of two-toned contrast. We have a bright front and kind of an opposite darker back. Not required, but I just find that higher contrast nice as the user flips the card over. They can definitely tell the difference between the sides.